Welcome to the What If It's Not Depression podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Achina Stein. Today, we're going to talk about ear seeds. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to learn everything you want to know about it. And if you like this episode, please click the like button and subscribe. So my guest is Robin Green. Robin Ray Green is a pediatric acupuncture expert. She's also an accomplished author, speaker, education, and business coach. Through the Center for Acupuncture Pediatrics, she has trained thousands of acupuncturists and licensed healthcare professionals to make a difference in the lives of children. Robin is also the best-selling author of Heal Your Child from the Inside Out. I love that title. The 5-Element Way to Nurturing Healthy, Happy Kids, published by Hay House. That's a great publishing company. Her book offers practical tips for parents seeking long-term solutions to their children's health issues. In addition, Robin is the co-founder of Thrive Ear Seeds and provides ongoing education in auriculotherapy, that's ear therapy, and business coaching through the Ear Seeds Ambassador Club and the Ear Seeds Mastery Certification Program. With her dedication, expertise, and contagious enthusiasm, Robin is an inspiration to anyone seeking to make a meaningful difference in the world of pediatrics, health, and wellness. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've been looking forward to talking to you again. And last time when we met for an episode, we talked about something completely different. And you mentioned ear seed. And it's like, what's that? And so we have to have another episode. So
Absolutely.
here we are. Yeah. So tell me more about how you came upon learning about ear seeds and how you got involved. It seems obviously connected to acupuncture, and because you're putting things on the ears and assuming points, acupuncture points or acupressure points, and how that seems to be connected to mental health and improving mental health. So I really wanted to learn more about it, but let's start with how you got involved.
Yes, that's a great question. When I was in acupuncture school, I learned about a completely new system called auricular medicine. And that's where we use the ear to influence the health of the mind, the brain, and the body.
Mm-hmm.
And when I focused on pediatrics, I realized it was one of the best ways that I could help kids through auriculotherapy and auricular medicine. And they loved ear seeds. They absolutely loved it because they're really fun. They're non-invasive. They don't hurt. And the kids noticed right away the huge benefit, and the parents too. And it became the number one request from all of my patients when I was in clinical practice. And so out of that love and passion for ear seeds, came the desire to educate more people about what they could do for you, how they can help you, because they're so accessible and easy for people to use at home. And it's a tool that can be used for so many different conditions. And so that's when Thrive Ear Seeds was born.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. I mean, I see children from time to time. It's not a major part of my practice, but many times, well, not many times, sometimes I see children, and the toughest part with kids is their difficulty with swallowing pills. They don't like textures of things. So even if you switch over to powders or liquids, it's like, oh, I hate the taste. I can't do it, And so that's the other reason why I wanted to get you on this podcast, is because it's another way of healing the body, mind, and spirit that doesn't necessarily require swallowing stuff all the time. And so, even adults get supplement fatigue and have issues with those things. So I think it's a great, option, as opposed to taking something orally. Awesome. Yeah. So why don't we just dive right in and talk about what are ear seeds? Let's just get right to it.
So ear seeds, basically on your ear, you have over 200 acupressure points, or points that you can stimulate. And what Dr. Paul Noget in the 1950s discovered was that the ear is a microsystem of the body, represented by an upside down baby in the ear, where the top of the ear, the baby's head is at the earlobe, and then the baby's body comes around the ear. And by stimulating these points, whether it's through acupressure or an acupuncture needle or red light therapy or electrical stimulation, that we could actually, it causes the body to, the ear communicates directly with the brain, and then the brain will send messages of what we call homeostasis or balance to that area of the body. So it can be used for anything from, pain to anxiety, depression, digestive issues. And what ear seeds are, they're the original ear seed. Let me take one out of the packet so I can show you. This is the original form of ear seeds, and that is what is called a vicarious seed. And it's about 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. So an ear seed is attached to this medical adhesive tape that's hypoallergenic and latex free. And then we just apply it to the ear, and it applies mild continuous pressure to the ear points. So as you're going about your day, it is sending messages to your brain, and your brain is sending those messages to your body, and it starts to affect whatever body part you're working on. And it's such an easy, non-invasive tool that there are kits that you can use to, do this yourself at home, or you can have a professional put them on for you.
Awesome. I'm noticing the picture behind you and
Yes.
looking at all of the different points, and you said there's 200 of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. These are, I don't even think this is all 200, but these are the most common points on this chart that's behind me. And so what we've done is taken the chart and simplified it into like protocols. So if someone wants to treat anxiety, there's a specific protocol that you can start with on the ear to help manage the symptoms of anxiety.
Awesome. And do you have a different protocol for depression as well?
Yes. We have protocols for all, for anxiety, depression, for like sleep, insomnia, racing thoughts, things that often go along with anxiety and depression. So you can kind of seed for multiple conditions.
Awesome. So then, is it you're saying it's an adhesive that's attached, and that people just kind of have to learn the protocol and put multiple seeds in at one time on the ear?
Yes. Let me see if I can show you. See if I have, this one here. So this is one of the kits that has the protocols in it. So you get a ring of cards, and there's like 23 conditions in here. And let me find the one for anxiety so I can show that to you. We've got dizziness and shoulder pain and motion sickness. Here we go. Here's stress and anxiety. So this will show you where on the ear you want to stimulate the points. And what it's doing when you apply pressure to the ear, especially in particular for anxiety and depression, we're really working on the nervous system layer of that condition. And so we are sending messages of balance, so that if someone isn't, like when you have anxiety and your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, freeze nervous system is activated, the ear seeds actually help regulate that, bring you back into a balanced state, so that helps in turn calm anxiety. And there's one point in particular, it's right here, and it's called, if you can see that, but it's called Shen Men. And Shen Men is amazing. Its Chinese name is Spirit Gate, and it helps to balance the nervous system. It lowers cortisol levels. It brings you back into that like calm state. And it also helps with pain and inflammation, which can also be a part, like when you have anxiety, some of those symptoms can ramp up as well. So it helps on all of those levels. It's probably the number one used point in auricular medicine, and it's fantastic. And what's so beautiful is you can also apply Shen Men and other points with these crystal ear seeds, and it just looks like you're wearing jewelry on your ear. And what you're actually doing is balancing your nervous system and supporting your body. And it can look beautiful. And that's partly why I think compliance is so high
Mhm.
with ear seeds, because people first notice the difference. And second, it can look beautiful. Like
Mhm.
I'm wearing some on my ear right here.
Right.
Um, and it's like a little teal crystal
Uh-huh.
on the jaw point,
Uh-huh.
and just helping me go about my day and manage some pain that I was having in my jaw.
Right. So now are these seeds releasing any kind of chemical or nutrient, or is it just pressure?
That's a great question, and these seeds are just applying pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So and that pressure, that mild continuous pressure, is what is the most important thing when it comes to activating the ear points and getting the results that you want. Of course, you can use other therapies, but acupressure works fantastic on the ear.
Right, right. So it's a continue the reason it would be beneficial to use the seeds is because you can't walk around putting pressure on your ear all day long, right?
Exactly,
Putting pressure on the
exactly.
shin men, I could walk around like this, but that doesn't make it easy to go on with your life. Now,
Right.
yeah. So what is it? Is it a specific metal that these ear seeds made out of? What are they made out of specifically?
So there's three different types. The first type is the vicarious seed, which is it's literally a seed that they harvest.
Oh, it's a
And
seed. Okay.
yeah,
I
it's
said
actually a
vicarious. I
real
didn't know
seed.
what that was. Okay.
Yes. So this is an actual seed. And then this one is a 24 karat gold plated one. It's a tiny bit smaller. And that one is, the inside, there's different metals, but it's plated with 24 karat gold. So it's very neutral. Most people have no problem wearing those ear seeds. And then they also come in stainless steel, but that does have a tiny bit of nickel. So anyone who has a nickel like sensitivity or allergy, we just recommend they either use the Vicaria or the 24 karat gold plated. And
Mhm.
there are some theories about the different materials in Chinese medicine being like tonifying or supportive, and others being sedative or like reducing inflammation. But
Mhm.
I think in my clinical experience, the most important thing is comfort and
Mhm.
just the pressure itself.
Mhm. Okay. So you mentioned that they bring balance or homeostasis to the nervous system, but can you be more specific about how does that really happen?
Right, that's a great question. And what we found when you study the nervous system, there's a very important nerve. I'm sure you're very familiar with it, but the 10th cranial nerve, your vagus nerve, and that really part of what it's doing, it's called the wandering nerve, right? It connects with like your heart, your lungs, your digestive system, your reproductive system. It is this amazing nerve that's doing so much for us, and the only area of the body where the vagus nerve reaches the surface is the ear.
Hmm.
And because of that connection, when you apply pressure to the ear, especially in this part of the ear here called the concha,
Mhm.
this part here, that has a lot of innervation from the vagus nerve, and that pressure is what you sends the messages to the brain, and then the vagus nerve. There's other nerves like the occipital nerve and other cranial nerves that are also on the ear, and we are influencing the nervous system, and we're sending messages of like homeostasis or regulation. So, for instance, if someone has um, too high of energy, it's going to help regulate and bring that energy down. But if their energy is too low, it's going to help raise it up. Just in the
Mhm.
same way, like if the sympathetic nervous system is overactive, it's going to bring it down. But if the parasympathetic nervous system is overactive and the person is too tired, too calm, can't get the energy to do, it'll actually raise that up and balance it. So it has a really balancing effect. And
Mhm.
so you never have to worry that it's going to like send like harmful messages, because it's all about regulating the body and bringing it back into balance, which is so beautiful because you don't have to worry about, you just need to find the right points, and the body knows how to do the rest and
Mhm.
will take care of it for you.
Great, great. So it's adaptogenic, so to speak.
Exactly. Yes, that's a perfect word.
Yeah, yeah. So how about it? I mean, I'm sure people are going to be wondering if they do this at home by themselves, like, oh, what happens if I put it on the wrong point? Like, is that going to hurt me? Because you have these charts, and they're all different for different things. I wonder, I would imagine that some people would be a little nervous about doing it on their own. What are your thoughts about that?
That is such a great question. And it is a very common question. It's probably the number one question we get.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at the ear, there's, as long as you're getting the point in the major area, like this one is in what's called the lower concha, and that one is on the helix crus. As long as you're in the area, like you're not going from if you're supposed to be down here and then you put the point like randomly on here, that's not going to have the desired effect that you want.
Right.
But if you're in the right area, even if you're off a little bit, you're still stimulating those nerves.
Right.
And that's where some education and videos can be really helpful to make sure you're getting it right. But ultimately, you don't have to be like exactly spot on, or else it doesn't work, or else it would do something harmful or negative. It's just if you're not, the closer you can get to it, the better.
Right.
But some of the points are really tiny, like they're almost overlapping. So you're really getting that nervous system stimulation. And that's the most important thing, is just get it in the right area. And then, you can play with it. Because I put ear seeds on myself every day. And even after, 25 years of using them, I will sometimes have to take it off and reapply it, because I can't see certain parts of my ear very well, but I can feel it, and I can feel when I have it on the wrong spot, and I have to just kind of move it a little bit around and find the right spot. So sometimes it's just a little bit of trial and error.
Right. Yeah. I was feeling around the ears like, oh, am I going to be able to locate that spot that you mentioned?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Right there.
you can actually, you can actually feel around as I'm looking at the picture on their
Yeah.
screen. Or behind you, I'm just really feeling around to those different parts. And it's like, yeah, I could feel that. Yeah, I could feel that. So
Yeah.
then the trick is to actually hold it and then put it on your ear.
Exactly. And that's your kit comes with the little tweezers, so that you can literally peel the ear seed off. Let me see if I can show you guys.
Mm-hmm. But I would imagine that it would be
That.
easier. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have
Yeah.
been speaking. Yeah. I would imagine it would be easier to do this than to put contact lenses in.
Oh gosh, so much easier. And if you have somebody in your family that will do it for you, it's a lot easier to have someone else look at the chart and put it on your ear for you. But you can absolutely, we have thousands of people that are doing it themselves. So we know it's possible to do it. Just takes a little practice. You just got to get in there and do it.
Right. Yeah. So there's no risk in getting it in the wrong place. You just may not get the full effect.
Exactly. So you just move it to a different location if you don't feel like it's working.
Right. So I want you to help my audience to understand, well, okay, so yeah, it causes pressure and it stimulates the vagus nerve. Just finish connecting the dots for everybody. So how does that end up helping with depression and anxiety?
Exactly. So, when we're healing from depression and anxiety, this tool is going to work to balance your nervous system, because you could be doing all the right things, right? You could change your diet, you could be meditating, you could be, working on supplements, but sometimes our body needs to get those messages of balance, because it's been kind of stuck in a certain mode. And we need to retrain our nervous system to be in a calmer state and to access that calmer state faster and easier. And ear seeds, that's essentially when we're working on anxiety and depression, that's what we're doing. We're retraining the nervous system. And for many of my clients, they notice the difference within 5 to 10 minutes of putting the ear seed on. They will notice their nervous system coming down, like that exhale that, they've been holding it all in, and a lot of people, you have anxiety and you look normal on the outside. Like no one knows what's happening on the inside. And the ear seeds just help you drop into your body, help you calm the anxious thoughts, and some of the physiological parts that just get stuck in that mode, and then we're bringing it back into balance, so you can access that calm so much easier.
Wow. So I wonder if acupressure can give you the same results. I mean, obviously you can't have it your finger, like I mentioned, you can't walk around with your pressure on your ears, but I wonder if you can feel relief in 10 minutes, whether doing acupressure to see if that is something beneficial, and then maybe getting the ear seeds. I'm curious if that's something that people can try to do and learn how to put pressure on certain parts of their ear and then see if there's any benefit, and then go ahead and order the ear seeds. What's your experience with that?
I think that, really there are whole books dedicated to just ear acupressure where you're literally just pressing, like when you're doing ear acupressure to get the amount of stimulation necessary to get an effect, you really want to use your fingernail on
Mm-hmm.
the point, and it might be like slightly painful, like tender,
Mm-hmm.
which is really a good sign because that means you're on the right spot.
Right.
And but you'd want to probably do that for about 10 minutes straight to see. And it's kind of hard to get like all the points at once because that's really where the magic is of having like, Shenmen and point zero and heart. And, there's another one called tranquilizer
Mm-hmm.
that, and I'll show you the protocol again.
Yeah.
So, those are this is Shenmen right there. That's point zero, that's heart, and this is tranquilizer. So those are the 4 areas that you would want to apply pressure to, but it's really the magic is when you're applying pressure to all 4 at the same time.
So putting those points, the seeds on all the points all at once. And would it be both ears or just one ear?
Both ears. People like for pain, you can just do the same ear on the side of the pain. But for something like anxiety and depression, you'd want to do both because you're going to magnify the effects by sending the messages from both ears to the brain.
Okay, so you would put on the same side as the where the pain is, because normally, the head is connected to this side,
Yes.
right? But it's for when it comes to acupressure, it would be the same side. That's interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, and you may not be able to answer this question, but I'm just curious to see if you know anything about whether or not this has to do the communication is increasing hormone signaling, just like peptides. Peptides are used to increase hormone signaling. I'm wondering if the ear seeds do that as well, that
There,
communication.
that is such a great question. And that does appear to be what's happening. So we have points on the ear called endocrine and pituitary and thyroid, which seem to enhance the communication signals in the body. I mean, I think really when you boil it down, it's like the nervous system is the intermediary for all of those communication channels. So when we balance it out, that can help regulate the communication to send proper signals to the body. So like there are points that we use, for instance, for like hormone imbalance that again, we're working on that nervous system layer, and that layer is so important when you're doing all the other things, because if the nervous system is still in a stressed state, it interferes with the normal regulation and signaling. So we want to get it back into that balanced state. And I think it just makes everything else you're doing, it's like the gel that makes it all work better.
And it almost resets the system.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So
And
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I think one of the things I think that, if you look at the work of Dr. Robert Naviant on cell danger response,
Mhm.
where he is talking about in order to get the body through the phases of healing, we have to reconnect cellular communication. Those cellular communication networks have to be reestablished so the cells can communicate and finish the cycle of healing. And it does that via the vagus nerve. So when you can stimulate the vagus nerve on the ear and send those signals, I've seen patients with like chronic illnesses, chronic anxiety and depression finally get that relief because they address the nervous system layer that
Mhm.
had never been accessed or addressed at that level before.
Mhm. Yes, and sometimes, sometimes meditation, people try it and they really give a good effort, or some people are just not in a place where they can even do it. They're just so stressed that even making attempts to meditate just is so unnerving for them. And it takes a lot of time, and it's a practice that really takes dedication, and that even after months of doing it, they might still be in this hyper stressed state, that, sometimes you need these kinds of things to sort of shift you in a
Yes.
way so that you can ultimately start to meditate, right? It's like it's turning off the stress um reaction on some level, or toning it down so that you
Yeah.
can then take over. And I'm always looking for ways of doing that. And so if this does that, yay.
Exactly.
Yay.
And also like, we can teach children to meditate, but I think when they get to a certain age, like they're more resistant to parents like trying to get them to sit down on a meditation pillow and do it. Some kids may be open to it. Some may be like, you're crazy, mom, I don't want to do that. But we can actually help regulate the function of the brain. So that's another really important piece um, of helping children is like there are points like master cerebral, which affects the frontal lobes. There are points like brain subcortex that can actually, regulate regions of the brain and give children that calm and focus that has been eluding them, especially if their nervous system is a little too amped for that level of focus. And so it dovetails right in, like if you're taking peptides or you're doing things, but let's also activate brain regions through stimulation on the ear that would be supportive of the underlying root causes of whatever imbalance is going on that's maybe giving them problems in school or trouble
Mhm.
sleeping or whatnot.
Hmm. And do you find that these are effective despite changes, not making changes in diet and lifestyle?
That's what I love about it. And that's actually one of the reasons why my business partner, Ellie, and I started Thrive Ear Seeds is because we have so many testimonials from people that got relief, like from migraines, anxiety, and different aches and pains just with ear seeds alone. Like we don't know what else they're doing, and this may be the only thing. And if part of the reason why they're not healing is due to imbalances in the nervous system, then this tool could be really life-changing for
Mhm.
someone.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would love for people to, especially with children, to
Yeah.
use this option first, before taking stimulants and, and antidepressants. I just think there's so many things that can be done for children before going to to me, it should be the last option of medication,
Yeah.
because there's just so many side effects that can affect your brain in the long run, in a negative way, and your heart, not just your brain, other organs.
Yeah.
So if people can use ear seeds to affect the change like you're talking about, then all the better. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
So,
think one thing, if you don't mind, one of the things I think that's really important to understand about ear seeds is that it is a therapy. And when you look at the research that's done for like lowering cortisol or decreasing anxiety, a lot of the times they're wearing them almost daily. They'll take like a break once a week from the ear seed stimulation to let the ears rest, but they're doing that for a minimum of 4 weeks in a row. And
mhm.
a lot of times the studies go up to 12 weeks. So you do have to give it some time. Some people will have like immediate results. Others will have results after a few days, but then they'll kind of fade when they take it off. So you'd really need to wear them for 4 to 12 weeks to get the best results, especially if you're working with a condition like anxiety or depression.
Great, great. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's really important to know. Yeah, and have there been any side effects at all that you can talk about? What are the most common side effects?
Yeah, the most adverse effect is like redness or swelling at the site where the ear seed is applied. And occasionally, like especially with some of the kids that I worked with, like they loved their ear seeds so much they would refuse to take them off until they saw me again. And if you wear them for too long, you can get a little scab where the ear seed was placed. So we recommend that you wear them no more than 5 days in a row and then give yourself at least 12 hours break from the stimulation before you reapply, especially if you're using the same points over and over again, because then you just don't want to have any redness or swelling. But that's really it. Otherwise, there are no side effects from having ear seeds. And the worst thing that could happen is it just isn't the thing for you, but it's not going to do any damage or harm. There are no like really severe side effects from ear seeds.
Mm-hmm. And aside from the seed and the two types of metals, you said stainless steel and the gold plated, are there different sizes?
The pellet is about like 1.3 millimeters by 1.3, and the Vicaria is 2 millimeters. So the Vicaria seeds will provide greater stimulation, but I also think it's really important to adjust for the person's sensitivity. And something I've observed clinically is when we have a condition going on, the ear points will tend to be very tender. So if you can't tolerate the pressure from a Vicaria seed, then switch to a 24 karat gold pellet, which is smaller and will be less stimulating. And some people, it's so tender, especially when there's pain conditions involved. Like my husband, when we were on vacation, his back had started to flare up. And so I put ear seeds on his low back and sciatic region, and it helped a lot, but it was so tender, he couldn't sleep on that ear. So we take him off at night, let the ear rest, and then just reapply in the morning. And what's interesting was after about 4 days of wearing them, the ear seeds were not as tender as his low back pain went away. So just something to note that as you're healing a condition, your ears may be tender, and then as it gets better, the tenderness will go away, and you can probably wear them longer, depending on how tender your ears are.
Right. Well, that makes sense because with acupuncture, those tender points get as you heal, that's then those tender points aren't as tender anymore. So yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
Yes.
I've been going to acupuncture for years, and every so often there's like,
Yeah.
your intestine.
Right. You're like, that's on it. Okay, good. Got the right spot.
You got the right spot. Like, yeah. So yeah, it's fascinating. I find acupuncture absolutely fascinating field of medicine. I, truly believe it's a field of medicine. I'm glad that there are people who are doing it and providing that service. Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to say about pressure, acupuncture, ear seeds that, I didn't ask that you think is
Yeah.
interesting to
One
know?
of the most fun things to me about auricular medicine is what's called auricular diagnosis.
Mhm.
So the messages sent through the nervous system, they don't just go from your ear to your body, but they actually go from your body to your ear. And
Mm.
auricular diagnosis is when there are signs on the ear. It could be redness, swelling, a protrusion, a papule. It could be like veins, like very, very prominent veins, and it will actually be a map to what is happening in your body. It's kind of like your medical record is reflected on your ear.
Mm.
So when you study auriculotherapy, one of the things you learn to do is observe the ear, and you can tell things about people's health just by looking at the ear. And the ear will we have, like, for instance, we had a gentleman who had hemorrhoids, and he had a spot on his ear on the helix right in this area. And about 6 months later, it all resolved and the spot disappeared on his ear. And the spot was related right to like the anus and hemorrhoids.
Mm.
So in like anxiety, we often will see like a bump or protrusion right in the concha here where the heart area is, because in Chinese medicine, the heart is the emperor of our emotions. And a lot of times imbalances that from anxiety and depression will manifest with changes in the heart region on the ear.
Mm.
So once you know what to look for, it becomes quite fascinating to look at people's ears, and you can see all kinds of things about their circulation, hearing, like things like heart disease, gastrointestinal disorders,
Right.
PCOS. All of that will show up on your ear, and it can really, like, for health professionals out there, can add a layer of assessment and open lines of inquiry that can help you go deeper and even find root causes
Mhm.
to various conditions.
Cool. That's awesome. Really great news. Yeah. Oh, we should probably talk a little bit about cost if you don't mind. Yeah.
Sure.
Tell us what people should order as a basic kit.
Yes, if you want the kit with everything that has everything you need to get started, it's called the Essentials Set, and
Hmm.
it's available at earseeds.com. It has 23 protocols, so you can use it for headaches and back pain and shoulder pain and anxiety, depression, stress, so many things. So that kit runs $88.
Hmm.
And if you want specifically just to treat stress and anxiety and just want to use the Vicarious seeds, we have a stress anxiety kit that's about $25. That's a great way to get started.
Oh, awesome. That's really great. And how many ear seeds are in those kits?
There are 160 in the Thrive or the Essential set, and there's about, I think, the same amount in the uh, anxiety and stress kit as well.
Oh, great, great. Awesome, awesome. All right. So let's wrap up. Where can people find you? Why don't you, I know all of this will be in our show notes, but I just want to make sure that it's stated, on this recording.
Yeah, people can find us at thriveearseeds.com. And they can also find us on Facebook and on Instagram. Our handle is at Earseeds Certification.
Awesome. Yep. That'll all be in the show notes. And I know you're offering a free ebook called Unleash the Power of Shenmen, that point that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be in one of the links in the email that I'll be sending out and on our Instagram handle as well and Facebook handle. So, well, thank you for the education about ear seeds and uh, everything about it. It looks like we really did a full soup to nuts A to Z about about ear seeds, and I hope people will take advantage of that. I know I'm going to. I really appreciate your time. I find it all fascinating, and I'm definitely going to try it for myself too. All right.
Awesome.
You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.